Hello, fellow hitchhikers. This is video 4 on a series of videos I'm making on the basics of crypto. Short little videos just outlining what you need to know as you enter the rabbit hole. Okay, so the chains. There's lots of different chains out there. Previous videos, I have been focusing on Ethereum and the aspects of what you can do on the Ethereum network. I don't want to leave Bitcoin out. Bitcoin is a very legitimate chain. They have started coming up with other use cases in order to build on top of it. But ultimately, Bitcoin is a network that can be off-grid, counter to the financial system. They have like their own satellites, they have their own wallets, and it's a type of store of value of money that can be used as just a true universal currency. It requires quite a bit of energy in order to run and maintain. Hive is a good company that I have bought some stocks in as my sort of hedge against Ethereum. Same with Hut 8. So it's not like I'm against Bitcoin. The utility there is to store value and to do transactions. It's sweet, it's simple, it works. It isn't really Web3 per se. It isn't really digital ownership, a lot of those kind of stuff yet. I mean, it's great. I don't want to, there's no hate or animosity towards it. It's just not what I'm playing around with right now. So anyways, Bitcoin is sort of the first main chain that was established. Satoshi, whether it's one person or multiple people, saw the collapse of the financial system and realized we needed some alternatives and we needed a different way to do things, a decentralized way that didn't rely on governments, didn't rely on companies, didn't rely on corporations, but a way that people could have a public ledger, that they could see everything that was going on in terms of transactions, whether people are front-running transactions, whether people are moving funds from one spot to another. Everything's public, everything's visible. You can control what you own on your own. You know, money, fiat cash is not backed by gold, it's backed by governments. What if governments fail? What if hyperinflation occurs? We need an alternate way. That's Bitcoin. Good stuff there. Definitely worth, don't be zero on Bitcoin. At least have some. So get off zero. We also have Ethereum. Now, Ethereum is shifting towards proof of stake. So it's not as energy intensive. It's definitely more like the world's computer, smart contracts, which allow people to make digital transactions in a way that are complicated or have utility beyond just a financial transaction. So lots of really neat things happening with Ethereum. When you get your MetaMask wallet, as I talked about in the previous videos, 2 videos ago, in your exchanges, it's going to default to Ethereum. You cannot send Bitcoin to a MetaMask wallet. You need a Bitcoin wallet for that. I don't have a Bitcoin wallet, so maybe Exodus, some of those kinds of wallets, though they have a Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're going to be more your apps on your phone, that kind of thing. Early on, I made some videos where I played around with Bitcoin. You can check those out if you want. Polygon is an interesting chain. It started out of India. They've teamed up with Immutable X lately, which is out of Australia. They're really trying to focus on the gaming side of things. Anyways, Polygon is an EVM, so it's Ethereum compatible blockchain. So you can add Polygon to your MetaMask wallet as a drop down. So you'd have Polygon and so on. Arbitrum, in the news quite a bit lately, just had a token drop. We'll talk about that in the DeFi in a little bit, but basically they're releasing their own token, ARB, which means there's lots of scams out there right now. If you hop on, hey, claim your ARB, you click it, you go through the process, and guess what? They're going to steal everything out of your wallet. So don't be greedy. Make sure you are on legitimate links as you chase free money. But anyways, Arbitrum, they're looking at scaling solutions for like games and different things, kind of like Optimism is. They scale and provide a layer 2. So what happens is you have a chain that can only have so many transactions happen in a given amount of time, because all of the computers and everything have to run in the background. So these other chains sort of run parallel and come up with solutions so that you can have more transactions happen at the same time. So it's all new, it's experimental, it's exciting. Here's Immutable. They're with the Polygon kind of now. I'm not a huge Immutable fan. That being said, they've grown and hired so many people, and they seem to have some good things happening. It's not like I'm against Immutable. It's just their history isn't the best. Doesn't mean they haven't grown and changed though, right? So I'm getting more interested in Immutable. I'm excited about Ember Sword, a video game that's now coming to the Immutable environment. So I'm going to be in there regardless. Ronin. This is a blockchain that I spend a lot of time in, especially because of my Axie Infinity background. There's a lot of things you can do on the Ronin network that are nice and simple. So you got liquidity pools, you have swapping, you have farming for tokens. It's I don't know. I'm going to do a different video. When I do the DeFi video, I'll show the Ronin environment. Solana has had it's got its own real strong community, and it's had some exciting ideas. I know there's been some problems within the Solana chain recently, but they'll recover, they'll rebuild. All of the chains have had problems at one point or another, and they're all learning and building and growing. So it isn't about it's not like there can only be one that wins. We can all support each other. So you get sort of some of these toxic conversations going on Twitter and whatnot, but just don't engage. Wax. So Wax is an interesting one. It's kind of like standalone out to the side. It's been growing and doing interesting things. It's one of the few that is social based. So like you don't need a MetaMask and all that kind of stuff. You just need your social profile. Boom, you click, you log in, you're good to go. Ronin just recently announced that they're going to have a social login feature. So there'll be 3 things. I think it'll be like a social profile, a 2-factor authentication of some sort, and then a third thing, maybe username and password. And in order to access, you need 2 of the 3. So you won't actually need all the seed phrases and all that kind of stuff that I talked about earlier with the wallets. In order for mass adoption to occur, we have to have ways that we can access these chains in a more natural environment, not memorized things or things written on a piece of paper. And if you lose the paper, everything is gone and there's no way to recover it. That's not good user experience. They're coming up with ways, the developers are coming up with ways in order to keep these private keys and these seed phrases somehow still encrypted, but accessible through your own normal ways that you access things. So I'm excited to see where these chains are going. Wax has done a good job with the seamlessness. There are some hassles though with getting Wax onto the Wax blockchain. They may have improved it. Previous video I talked about how I use KuCoin as an exchange to be able to send Wax. There may be some improvements now where you can buy Wax in an easier way without paying a huge fee. The last time I tried, I was like, oh, this fee is like deadly. Like, why would I bother? I'll just send it with KuCoin. So anyways, okay, there's meme chains. Now I spend this is the most, what I'm showing you now is the most amount of time I've ever spent on Doge chain. Like literally, I searched it and found the hyperlink to it. That's it. So some of these things get really popular with the influencers or with people on social media. I'm not interested in that because it's classic pump and dump. Pump and dump means I buy a bunch of this. I use my influence to pump up excitement. A lot of my followers buy into that excitement through FOMO, fear of missing out. And then what I do is I sell into all of those people my holdings, and then eventually there's not enough people buying and the whole thing comes crashing back down, and I've used those followers as my exit liquidity, which means I've exited my position, the amount of coins that I have, by creating liquidity using my influence to get people excited about it, and I liquidate on them. That is not something that a good person does. That is why I don't touch any of these. I know there's cool communities and there's lots of fun and there's memes and people are doing neat stuff within it. And that is great. And I'm so happy for the communities and I'm happy that people are doing neat stuff with it. It's just the manipulation. And I know there's manipulation in everything in the market. If there's money, there's manipulation. But yeah, it's just not something that I'm interested in doing. So I don't. CoinGecko is a fairly clean website that I like to use because you can look at the various coins and you can kind of see where they're at with the market cap and all that kind of thing. Ethereum, everyone's always calling for the flippening at some point. Now that Ethereum is deflationary, Ethereum may flip the market cap of Bitcoin. However, in order for Bitcoin to survive, every 4 years, Bitcoin has what's called the halvening. And the halvening? anyways, the halvening, where it becomes twice as hard to, or half as many Bitcoin are available to be mined, or it becomes twice as hard to mine those Bitcoin, I guess is a better way to say it. Anyways, the only way for Bitcoin to stay viable is for that price then to go up significantly. And so I think we're halfway through right now. So within the next 2 years or something like that, we should either see a huge increase in Bitcoin, or it'll become less and less viable for people, a huge increase in price of Bitcoin, or it'll become less and less viable for people to mine the Bitcoin, in which case we may see then it collapse or go down. I'm not sure. This is speculation. I'm not a day trader. If that doesn't happen and Ethereum stays deflationary as it now is becoming, where they're not producing as much Ethereum through the process of supporting it, Ethereum may go up in value, and then you may have the flippening. I don't know. These are just things that happen. Tether is a stable coin. It's not really a blockchain. I do USDC, not USDT. BNB, so that's Binance. They do have their own chain. They do have their own games. It's all very centralized. There's USDC. That's more what I hold. These two coins, USDC, USDT, the idea here is that they are pegged to the value of $1. So they should be worth $1 or close to $1. You have a bunch of Ethereum and you think, oh, it's going to go down, or you want to get paid with something, you want it to be worth a certain amount of US dollars, you can convert it to this and hold it there for a while and bring it back. Otherwise, you'd have to bring it all the way out to your off ramp to your bank account to have it in fiat cash. So these stable coins offer a way to have a virtual value of fiat cash of US dollars. There are stable coins like Canadian stable coins and whatnot, but for the most part, people are using USDT. Now, with the collapse of some of the US banks and everything that's happening there and the massive amounts of money that's being printed, if US dollars don't stay the global reserve currency, maybe a different stable coin will be desired, like Bitcoin. Or not, I don't know. XRP, okay, so anyone who's new to crypto comes across XRP. And having been in crypto for a little while, it's kind of like the running joke, but then you look, it's hey, it's gone up 21% in the last 7 days. It seems to be everyone's darling that's out there, yet at the same time, everyone's joke. So XRP, the vision behind XRP is that it will be a currency for banks in order for banks to move large amounts of money between banks. Instead of having to go with the SWIFT network through Europe, they would use something like XRP. Now, I was excited about it when I first came to crypto, and I love the vision, the idea. But then I think about, well, why wouldn't the banks just create their own blockchain and use their own currency? Why would they rely on this community's standard that they've developed? Maybe because this community's worked out all the bugs. I know, when I look at applications of crypto, Starbucks has come out and they've got their Odyssey program and they're making collectibles on Polygon. They didn't create their own blockchain. So, anyways, XRP is an interesting one. Dogecoin, which I already mentioned, a meme coin, Cardano. So Cardano historically it was called the Ethereum killer. So it is a blockchain that may replace Ethereum and become the main one. The tricky part is network effects. So Polygon, Solana, all these other ones, they're all EVM compatible. They're all compatible with Ethereum. So once you got all these other good things that are happening and they're all compatible to Ethereum, it's hard for someone to become a disruptor and displace Ethereum because of those network effects. Could happen. I'm just saying it's hard for that to happen. Anyways, the list goes on and on. Tron is kind of known as a bit of a sketchy kind of, this is the back alley casino kind of currency, though it has a following and it's popular. Chainlink, that's more of a functional token. It's got a very, very important token. Uniswap is like a governance token, so it's not actually a chain. I looked at Uniswap in the last video. This is a token that's used for controlling that whole network. Anyways, CoinGecko, you can kind of see the main coins that are out there. You can click on them. Let's click on Avalanche. And it'll have some information over here on the side, their community, their Discord. It'll show some of the exchanges where you can trade them. So on Binance, you can see the volume, you can see the price. So this is where you look for arbitrage opportunities, but the bots will always beat you anyways. So, okay. That was a bit of a longer one, but just talking about the different chains that are out there. Oh, I should mention a couple things. One, proof of work. So when I talked about energy of like Bitcoin or Dogecoin, so those use lots of computers in order to solve very complex mathematical problems, if you will, in order to prove that they're not trying to damage the chain, make sure that the chain is safe and secure for you to use. Proof of stake, what happens is they use very low amount of energy, but the validators put in a large amount of funds. And if they do anything nefarious or damaging or try to do something that is against the honest truth, then they lose funds. They get slashed. Okay, it takes from them. There's advantages and disadvantages. Some of the advantages, the proof of stake, is it's faster, can do more transactions, doesn't require as much electricity, so more environmentally friendly. But it also means you really need that decentralization to be happening. Otherwise, someone with lots of money can influence the network a little bit easier, like a government or something like that. Whereas proof of work, you don't have as much vulnerability that way, as long as there's enough miners to ensure that they don't have the majority of sway. Again, lots of money or a government kind of scenario. So that's a really, really brief overview. You can go down that rabbit hole, proof of stake versus proof of work. Within the proof of stake, you also have what's called delegated proof of stake. There's an authorized proof of stake. So that's for very small networks. I can't remember if it's authorized, but anyways, where the organizers delegate very specific validators because they have a high trust value. So you might only have 20 validators running a network, but they're all very, very high trustworthy players. So anyways, good. That was a mouthful. Hopefully that was helpful. We're going to carry on looking now at DeFi and some ways that you can invest or earn some passive income within the crypto environment. Keep track of your towels and don't panic.